The alarm clock blared at 4:30, a sharp, mechanical scream that tore through the absolute darkness of the room. It did not stop. It demanded a response. Elias lay still, his eyes wide open, staring into the black void above him. His hand moved from beneath the covers, fingers splayed, hovering just inches above the snooze button. The temptation to press it, to sink back into the warmth and silence, pulled at his muscles. He held his breath. He watched his own hand tremble slightly in the dim light. Then, he pulled his arm back. He did not press it. He sat up in one fluid motion, his feet finding the cold, hard surface of the floor. The air in the room was biting, but he did not reach for a blanket. He stood, his joints popping in the quiet, and walked toward the door. The first battle of the day was already over. He had won it before the sun had even considered rising. The garage air was stagnant and frigid. Elias stepped onto the rubber mat, the scent of iron and stale sweat hanging heavy. He approached the rack, his hands wrapping around the cold steel of the barbell. He adjusted his grip, feeling the knurling bite into his palms. He unracked the weight. The load settled onto his shoulders, pressing his spine down, forcing his core to ignite. He descended into the first squat. The movement was slow, controlled, a deliberate descent into pressure. He hit the bottom and drove upward, his breath hitching in his throat. 1, 2, 3. By the fifth rep, his legs began to tremor. The weight felt doubled, a crushing force pushing him toward the floor. He did not quit. He braced his midsection, pushed his heels into the mat, and fought the descent of the bar. He ground out the final repetition until the iron clicked back into the rack. He stood there, chest heaving, sweat dripping. Elias stepped through the office glass doors at 9 sharp. The atmosphere was not the usual hum of productivity. It was jagged. A project lead had been canceled. The client was demanding a full refund. The news had hit the floor like a shockwave. Colleagues were pacing the narrow aisles, their footsteps erratic and loud. Voices rose in a discordant chorus of frustration. One person slammed a hand against a desk, the sound echoing off the walls. Another was shouting about software bugs and impossible timelines. The air felt thick with the heat of rising panic. Fingers were pointed at management, at the developers, at the clock itself. Blame moved through the room like a contagion, infecting every conversation. Elias walked toward his station, his movements measured and slow. He watched a coworker throw a stack of papers onto a chair, the pages scattering across the carpet. The noise was suffocating. Elias reached his desk. He did not join the shouting. He sat down. He remained perfectly still, a single point of gravity in a room spinning out of control. Elias tapped the power button. The screen flickered to life, casting a cool, white glow on his face. He ignored the shouting match erupting 2 desks away. A coworker leaned over his shoulder, demanding he join the protest. Elias did not look up. He kept his hands on the keyboard, his fingers moving with rhythmic precision. He opened the draft window. He stripped away the panic, the excuses, and the noise. He typed a single clear subject line. Then, he outlined the technical fix in 3 bullet points. He proposed a new, realistic timeline that accounted for the errors. He hit send. The cursor blinked, a steady, unwavering pulse. He leaned back, his shoulders dropping from his ears. Within an hour, the ping of an incoming notification cut through the office din. The client had accepted the proposal. Elias closed the laptop. He had simply replaced the chaos with a solution, proving the pressure was now just a task. Elias stood and walked to the break room. The floor was quiet now. The frantic energy of the morning drained away. He poured a cup of coffee, the steam rising in thin, steady ribbons against the cool air. He carried the mug to the window and looked out. Below, the city moved in a blur of erratic traffic and hurried pedestrians. It was a landscape of constant, unpredictable setbacks. A year ago, this view would have felt like a threat. Today, it was just the world. He took a slow sip, the heat grounding him. He had spent months building his foundation, brick by difficult brick, through every early morning lift and every moment of chosen discipline. He had simply become harder to break. He watched the street, held his cup with both hands, and remained still.